C3. We had the release of 0.68, and after that the work started on 0.7. So 0.7 is removing a lot of features. We can look at the release notes and kind of not have that one yet. Let's see what yeah, so that's correct here. Sorry. So we see we remove the foo, this kind of initializer, the change to new generics. Some people like it, and some actually prefer the old ones. More controversial is the removal of these expression blocks, although there wasn't that much use of them. Ref, that one was removed, kind of deprecated pretty early. I don't think that many people were using it because it's a part of the macros. The syntax for VI expr, that changed very early on, and I don't think people mind. There's this change to the enums where you can't cast directly to the ordinal, but you have to use like the ordinal. But that's compensated by the new inline feature functionality, so I don't think people think that's a big thing. But it's changing a lot of things with how the standard library behaves. And then I started changing these things. Sorry, let me see if I can get you a less bumpy ride, even though I keep the laptop actually in my lap. Right, so this kind of syntax going from for each like this with parentheses to just going for colon. And for the for each, that's the thing that looks the worst. But otherwise, it's now fairly consistent it's consistent with what if statement looked like. And the reason why I changed the if statement in the first place, let's just look at that one. So the if statement used to look like this. So you can still you can write this because it's the same thing, right? So you can still write this thing. Actually, it will look like this with a trailing semicolon. And I just kept this because that's C, but in removing this and also removing this one later on, it looks like more Python-esque, or maybe like the PHP. One type of PHP syntax that you can use in templates, for example. And the thing is that this one is very distinct from this style. So you can see I want to emphasize the difference even more than it used to be. So with for each and so on going the same way, it's more consistent with that syntax. Although I can understand that people prefer the other syntax. It's not, this syntax was never meant to look good, in the sense that you shouldn't really get that much of this syntax unless you're writing macros that are actually doing different things depending on the arguments. So that's a kind of a nudging to not write this kind of code at compile time. Okay, so but that's about 0.7. Let me see if I have some people already checking in. Hello, I see Twitchy Mole checking in. Right. So, but there are other things that are changed or moved. There is the this is more controversial, the removal of the experimental operator construct. So the operator construct was this thing that you could take something, anything, you can make a struct. Most useful would probably have a struct. You have a struct of some type, and then you could create a function like this that had to return the type itself, or a pointer to that type, and then kind of create something like this, right? And then this function could just return a foo, for example, with this would be due to inference, you can do it like this. So this would be kind of okay, but you have to write operator construct. And then the idea was that you would then call it like this way. So foo create, right? And it's not that that is bad in a general sense, but it has some serious conflicts with the other way to do this, which would be like having something like foo is foo create. Or something else. It could be like in some other, in this case, it could be like test2 and create foo. Right? That would also be a possibility. And I was just like, okay, I don't feel like we could have both. I tried, but they looked weird. So for now, it's gone in 0.7. I'm not saying that it's gone forever, but it's gone for now. There's also the removal of the any switch, which was a feature probably no one knew about, which is if you have an any, I can put something in there. Let me have a foo, for example. Again, we have the foo. We can remove this thing, the construct, and then I place that one in an any. I have to take the address, right? And then I can somewhere else, like imagine this is somewhere else, I could do switch. And then I could do case, if it's an int, then do something. And here we can assume, we can basically say A equals, B equals A. And that would be fine. And, foo. So foo B equals, again, like this. But the use of this is marginal. There is actually this one which is more useful, which is like foo equals A, and in that case there would actually be like this. Sorry, I think it was like this. So then you actually got the int. So and that's nicer. But honestly, this wasn't used much. You can still just do this. Okay, you keep everything else, and then you have to do the cost manually. But this manual cost is the only thing you saved with the other one, so that was removed. Okay. Any questions so far? Right, no, nothing. Okay, so let me just adjust these properties on the on this capture somehow. I think let me do something. I'm not really used to having this. Right now, it's not cropped anymore. More of a. All right, so okay, let me make it smaller. So you get smaller me. Right. Okay, so one more thing that we have that is also probably of marginal use is this kind of switch. So we have if we do a catch like this, we have, for example, an int, which is optional. So we have A here. We remove okay, keep the, and then we do it like this. Then we are allowed to immediately do a case here. For example, it could be a search result missing. And then I can assume that R is now this search result missing. So this one is a shorthand for, let me just put something in here. Whatever, so like that. Okay, so this is a place for, this is like a faster way of writing the whole thing, sorry, this one, and then putting a switch statement inside. this is exactly the same behavior, except the switch one would be more clear, I guess. So, and if it was like this, then you could always do like, okay, if it's, you know, if the error is search result missing, we could return 0 and return 1. Otherwise, this one would be like equivalent anyway. So why do we have this? So the plan today is to rip that one out. I'm sorry for the long introduction. So the plan is now, let's, you know, remove that and all of that. Oh, did I mention? Okay, let me mention just on the Discord. I didn't ping people. All right. Okay, so we're going to remove the this one, the old one, this one. So let's just the first thing you will have to do when you do this is to find actually where it's parsed. So we have an if statement somewhere. So we parsed if statement, parse if, and the important thing is like to purge everything that's over there, right? So we see here there's an if statement that starts with a switch body. That's the one we want to remove. So essentially, this is what we should end up with. So here we see, okay, what if it's a special case if we have this case thing? So let's go to this one, remove that, and then we can simply, you know, we can say that this is what will happen, right? So this is sure to be right. Let's indent that correctly. Okay, so then what I can do now is just try to run this, because we'll get the errors where it's used. Okay, so we have, of course, in copying, I'll just remove that one. Let's see, that's just the copying. Okay, we should get something else here. Here's another case. We can maybe find something else. No, that was this. Okay, no, I don't want that help. Thank you. And then we have here this case here when we analyzed if statement that is looking at what's the then statement and do different things. Let me see if I have some questions already. No, okay. Let me know if you have some problems seeing this thing. I don't know. Where can I put it? Here. Maybe put portrait up there. Okay, and let me know it's like if the sound is okay. Right, so we have like the cont type could be unwrap or unwrap bool, right? And it could never be type unwrap. Let's see where it's used. So do we ever have type unwrap anywhere else? No. So that means we want to take this one and remove it. So because it can never be that one, so we must have this cont type. Then we can just put that in here. And we are, let's see, we're kind of done, right? So the cont type, we'll remove that one. Let's see if it's used later on. Right, okay, so we also check in this case here. So we have the switch statement. Let's see if there's something in here that is actually doing different things because of this one. No, I don't think there is. So this one doesn't happen, so it's normal. This is fine. Okay, and apparently there are more errors. So here, if it has braces, if it's a compound statement, so that's enough. Let's see here too. So if it's not unwrap bool, okay, so that one goes away. So now we only have two of these unwraps. We have the unwrap val type value, which is weird. Okay. Right. Let's see what happens. So okay, have another error here. We can't have this one. And let's go further here. Okay, so if it's not a switch statement and it's not a catch, okay, that's just if it's not a switch statement. Yes. Okay, that one goes away. That's for the C cogen, which is woefully incomplete. Okay, so liveness, again, we have the catch statement. That's the switch thing here, and that, let's see here, that one goes away. This is a simple one. Let's see if we find somewhere which actually, oh, here we have some stuff that is actually doing something. So if it's a switch catch statement, then we do this thing, right? Let's see if we ever the if else actually, right? So let's go and remove some more code. Here we have the emit else. That's that's what I expected. So that one was never used. Well, let's see again. If the switch type is, if it's a catch switch, blah blah blah, it uses the anyfold. Otherwise, it's a switch value, which is the type, and yes. Okay, and then we go ahead. Feel free to ask any questions, like why do I do this? Well, isn't it better to keep it just in case it isn't? Like the reason now I'm going wild, kind of wild, and removing these things is that oops, what happened there? That was weird. So okay, you have a case, yes. So now it's doesn't work anymore, right? So that's expected. But there's something, okay, there's a break in there, right? Let's go. Okay, so we got another error here. So this is there is a switch case here, clearly. So didn't I? Okay, I thought I got all of these cases, but clearly I didn't. So in this case, now we can, if we have a if the error is an IO error, right? In that case, we just run this code, right? So we're done, and then otherwise we just return error. Or we can just do if this is not end of file, then we just return the error. And then this is the actually this is probably the expected thing. That's the normal flow, so that's fine. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there's another one. Oh, here's another one where you actually use this. So there are actually more cases than I thought. But again, this one is funny. This one is changing things. So the use here is actually, if you have an error, you can swap it for another error if you want. Again, it's very straightforward to kind of do this. Just return this then you can actually set this error to something else and then return it. I don't know. Maybe it's just better to do this like this. Maybe it's clearer. Like it's the same pattern over and over again. Sadly, there's no. I couldn't think of a way. This pattern kind of happens where you, if there's a specific error, then you do something, and you could certainly, do that with the catch. You could, just catch something special here, but there's I don't think that anything. I don't have any construct which is shorter than actually writing an if statement. So let's go ahead and just run this again. Let's see. So again, we get the same thing, and again, it's like the same. We want to return something else if we have end of file. So that's the common thing. Because again, we could have other errors potentially, but the only one we know that we can handle is this end of file. Let's see. Sorry about that. We get it again. Isn't an end of file? Then let's just return something reasonable. And I'm betting the next one is also the same thing, right? So it's if error again is end of file, then we just have unexpected end of file. Okay, so there's an unexpected end of file. I didn't even remember these. That's there's going to be like, let's talk about the change needed for errors later on. Let's see. Okay, I just had something there, and it passes the normal thing. And let's run the standard library tests, and we have another one here. Let's see, that's in the scanner test. Yes. So if again, oh, this is interesting. So this also happens. Like when you have a particular error, then you do a brain fuck. Okay, break, and you can break out the loop here. Actually, this loop thing is just needed because it was a switch before. So now it's no longer needed. Actually, so and then we have this. Which okay, what happens? So okay, so in this case, it actually panics. Right? You see this? This is this beautiful combination that takes, like here you have the error, immediately panic on this error. That's what it says. It's a very short way of doing that. So it's like, what? Yeah! Kind of syntax. All right. Yes, and I understand that that's confusing in the beginning, but if you're writing something like that, it's not more confusing than having, 2-star pointers or 3-star pointers. So this is just what standard libraries. Now we have to run through this test, and the test's gonna, fail in some cases because this exactly because it can test this syntax. So meanwhile, I'm just going to look at what you're saying and see if there is anything. Okay, so thank you, man, for C3. When will GitHub approve C3? Well, there's the problem with. I guess it could be there should be text grammar for it, so it can do highlighting. But the problem is that we are changing the syntax right now, right? So I kind of I feel it's a bad timing to kind of submit it now, right, with 0.7. But maybe with like 0.1, 0.7.1, sorry. So maybe we can, release it there. And release a good grammar, TextMate grammar, and then do the whole thing with GitHub. I guess you're doing this to remove something that's effectively syntax sugar, basically to maintain simplicity of language. Yes. So features that kind of that like this, there is like this huge downside of having syntax sugar, and that is you you're kind of maintaining it, but also it creates this uncertainty for people when they discover that they don't know the language well. And it kind of also makes you focus if you have like a lot of ways to kind of deal with specific problems that one might arise in the language. So you have special syntax to do this and some special syntax to do that. Then you might not actually focus on making the core syntax semantics work well. So you kind of, I have removed for example, the and there's okay, this is so, and there's the third point, which kind of, if I've learned parts of the language, right, and then I look into source code, and then I don't understand what people have done in that source code because they are using advanced features that I don't know about, and that is not going to give people, confidence in their skill and their ease of learning the language. Like if they spend a week learning C3, and then they think, oh yeah, I probably know C3, and then they open some advanced code and they don't understand what language constructs are doing, then that's a problem. So you kind of want to remove, reduce the amount of things that the person can need to learn in order to master the language. We already have a lot of things that are extra. So there's a macro system that's already on top of C, right? And then there's the errors here and the modules, but mostly I guess the error system. So what if I remove things that are not like super essential? It's making the language nicer to learn. And another thing is that you kind of get these patterns that people recognize, right? So they are used to seeing one sort of pattern and they know, okay, this is this kind of solution because the code is intending to do something, something special, something this and that. And if you go and create a lot of different patterns that you can do, then first of all, it's like harder to recognize these patterns. There are too many patterns, and also you can't be sure that the person is picking this pattern because they know, like they really want it, or they don't know about these other features, or they prefer one subset or something. So I think like as a designer, your job is essentially to kind of make these uncomfortable decisions and say, okay, this should go in and this should not go in because it's this is better people do it in this way than the other way. Okay, let's see here. We have this. This is an old some old tests. So let me fix that. So anyway, it's removing things makes the code feel more comfortable to people. More comfortable, familiar, give them a feeling that they master the code. So the other way around is basically the opposite. So they feel that they don't understand the language, and that's the thing to I want to avoid. So let's switch in defer macro. Okay, switch in defer macro. Here we got one. Oh, someone is using it. So let's see how they use it. By the way, so is there something switch in defer macro? It's on 255. And let's see how they use it. So this is interesting. Let's my hypothesis is that it's just header file. Yes. So again, another header file. This is not code that I wrote, by the way. So just shows how people tend to use. Oh, they made a break. I don't know if they intended that or not. Because if you make a break here, then you just continue. You just break out the switch. So it should break out of this one. Maybe they had some problems with that. I don't know. Maybe they didn't test for that particular thing. Okay. And then I had some 333. That's another thing that's kind of tricky with this, because suddenly, you have to have these breaks instead of the simple of just, you have to have label breaks. So that's not a nice thing about this. So once you're in the switch. Okay, so maybe it worked. Maybe it worked. I don't remember myself, which is another sign if you like that's really saying that this isn't a great feature. But you have to kind of this is where where it kind of makes sense, because you have two errors, right? So you have to do like this, and it's kind of nicer to not have to do this or, but it's so minimal. Really, that's the problem is not a big one. I guess that one was wrong. It's like unexpected in a file and expected. I don't know. I have to look at where the code does this unexpected in a file. Okay, so that looks correct. Maybe we just have that on a single line, even if it's kind of bringing it outside of the screen. And 402, here's another one, another end of file. So if it's an end of file, then we are done. So all right. Okay, so that was that, and then finally switch default catch. Right? Okay, so this one is probably just for removal. And that's it. And then let's run that one. And let me look in the chat here. So okay. Oh, did I do something wrong? Okay, sorry. I didn't see that comment. We'll catch that later. Okay. So thanks. I really like that way of thinking. You are thinking giving this language simple for pedagogical reasons. I like it. Yeah, it's also for like everyone. When you've been away from a language, you kind of end up forgetting the features. So what you remember is kind of the core, the basics, and then you kind of have to work yourself uh, outwards from that. It's like learn C++, and then you have like at some point in time you might remember everything about like how the templates work, how the references, how they're like when the move semantics actually work, and when you have to do like std move and all of that, and you kind of into it, and then you go away from C++ for a week, and they forget all about those details. Maybe a week is exaggerating, but it's like that. You kind of forget the details, the gnarly details, and the time it takes for you to get up, get back, and start using the language in a normal way. Again, that also depends on how big the language was. So, um, and that's like a mental burden. I mean, I can say that I can, take something like Java. Uh, it's immediately easy to kind of get into. It's despite everything, the horrible things that people are dealing with Java frameworks, um, Hibernate, and what's the Spring. Oh God! But that said, the language itself, at least it used to be. I haven't used the latest versions, but it's kind of okay. Let's say like the early Java, at least, up until like I guess 8 was one that added a lot of features, but including 8, you kind of it wasn't hard to remember what the features were. Like there weren't that many features in the language. I mean, you compare this just to C++, it's like its difference is staggering. But actually, I would say that even Java is simpler than something like Ruby. I think Ruby is kind of I've programmed Ruby on and off, and whenever I get back to Ruby, it's like, yes, I know Ruby had this kind of something that looks a bit like this, and then I have to look it up. Um, um, like because it has this, if, and you can put if statements on different places, and then you have unless, and you can put them in different places, and then you have a lot of different versions of the same kind of feature. Like getting it uppercase, you have the uppercase in place, you have the uppercase and return something, and then you have all these uh, aliases to the same name. So you have like several different names you can use because it's supposed to be simple, because you can do that, and that's actually not simple at all because I, it's hard to remember. Okay, so we got an error because we changed the code a bit. It was the switch one where I changed from a switch to an actual an if. So yeah, so it was examples, yeah, if catch. Right, so the way to do this is again to copy paste this, and then I do a diff, and you can't see the diff because I'm using I'm just broadcasting the screen, unfortunately, because when I did differently, it kind of was a bit messed up. So just trust me, I'm just doing a diff right now, a manual one, and then I can just check that everything looks okay, more or less, and then just that the test case is the small version of everything. So here's we have like a lot of code, but we're not really interested in doing a diff for that. Just have this part, which is the main code. Okay, so that was it. I think there was one more error. So we had the other one was various switching. So various switching. Let's go to that one. And here we have this, and here we have, okay, we did miss this kind of this thing. So we have different switches, and we have the switches on the error. So we can just remove this one. There's no need to test that one. And what we'll get now, we again a diff on that one. All right, let's see. Any questions? So okay. Uh, Stickings. X. I don't know where it was that your where that change was. Um, Second to last one. I can check, I guess, what that could be have been. If it was one of the multi-readers, then that's bad. So that looks okay. I'm checking the diff here. So that one looked okay. That one looked okay. Oh, that one looks okay. I don't want to. Oh, it's a single. It's an assignment. It was the assignment, right? Somewhere. The classic C problem. That one should probably not be as reassignable. The error there. Okay. So I'm just looking at the runner, this runner here. And once I'm done with this, we can go to a branch and start looking at the errors in detail. Oh, there we go with the switching, which is now compiled to something else because we removed this extra test. So it's going to be quite a diff for me, but hopefully it will be quick to do anyway. So again, you can see this. I'll just fix this in the diff here. Removing a bunch of things and then keeping that, all of that. Just assuming it's right. So what I do here is like basically it's running all these things and then just gonna check that the LVM output is as before, and that can off mostly that's just annoying because it does this exact same thing. But when I do changes to LVM, lowering this is invaluable, so I have to have it. Okay, now it's crashing because I'm running two tests at the same time, which I should never do. But I should really get the sub process to actually link to this process that I'm running, which is not. And I'm just don't want to go back into doing the sub process code again because it was so gnarly trying to find documentation on how to do that on different platforms. Hopefully someone else can have a look at that sometime. It feels like it's building up now as like the work on the compiler is one thing, but doing all the library stuff and testing all that is a lot of work. Okay, let's see. Any questions so far? So yeah, you can ask off-topic questions. You're using LVM in Pure C. So yes, LVM has its C API. There's an official C API, but you kind of there are some things missing actually. So you kind of have to fix that. So it's sorry, now I'm like moving my camera around. So I'm actually adding some features. There's this wrapper CPP here, which kind of fixes some of the things that are not available. So actually run the passes here is run the modern passes. It's doing that from C++ instead. There are some things like this is missing, and this one is missing. DSO local is also missing. Const bit swap is missing. So some of these are missing from the C API, basically. So I did here. Oh. Sorry about that. It's almost 11 here. Okay, and it's I don't know why some debug output here. what's this for? Yeah, okay. This is for the LVM, LD stuff. Okay. Right. So we have quite a diff here. A lot of files changed. So maybe I should start preparing a bit this check-in. So I'm going to go and add here. So remove if catch foo case. Syntax. It makes me so happy removing features, because I also know that this reduces the number of lines of code. That means it's going to be more stable automatically, especially for such a, like, if you have an if statement, that's not a problem because you are using if statements all the time. And if it wouldn't miscompile, then you would get like 1,000 people saying the if statement don't work. But if you have something like this, then someone will like try this feature, and if it doesn't work, they're like, maybe I misunderstood what the feature did. And then they don't file an issue on it even. So that's also nice. That's a fourth point, I guess. Okay, so now we're down to 999 tests. So it's going to go up and down, because with these the removals, I lose some tests too. So let's do this. Like, what did I call this? I just usually, oops. I just pick the release notes, then the text in the release notes, and then use that. So remove if catch. You don't see this again. I keep forgetting that you don't see my my pop-up windows. But okay, so let's push this. Maybe there's something wrong here, and then I'll see in the. Mostly it would be then in the the tests. So okay, maybe I should have looked at that. So I have a bunch of in the resources. If you ever want to try it, there are some examples here, and some of them actually, in the context-free ones actually, might have used this feature. It didn't. Cleanup then, did it do anything? No. So if you don't know context-free is a channel with a lot of programming language things introduced with programming language designers and so on. So it's something I watched a lot in the years when I started to develop this. And because it's just interesting to hear what other program language designers think, and how they do stuff. Okay, no, I think this might actually pass. Okay, so now let's go to the real experimental thing. So let's check this out. Okay, so I don't know if this even works. Oh yeah, I did actually not check that last part in. Okay, so what is it? What this is the change. Let's see if we have some examples here. Yeah, so here we go. Now in if we look at what the master branch looked like, it would say something like subprocess failed to open std out. So here we're going more into, we have removed the whole faults. the whole fault type. There is only any fault type. Let's see if I can show you something. So debug stuff. Okay, so let's see. This one should still compile. I'm just going to make sure that it compiles. Right, there we go. And what you can do now in this branch is that you can create a fault, which we call foo, and we get these errors because this is IntelliJ doesn't, the IntelliJ plugin doesn't know about this yet. So we have to just ignore that. Now, again, sorry, I forget that you actually see me, so I didn't cover my mouth. Sorry about that. So here we would go just for this. So and the error here would be, foo, like that. And we could have something like test. So if a is less than 10, then we return with a foo, like this. And then we can have all the sorts of things that you usually have. So if catch test a is greater than 10. No, let's just do this. While hang on, it's while IO to read line IO stood in, and then let's do it like this. If test. Yes, we're gonna get a string. So if we get a string, and we're gonna test that one, string to int, right? Then we're gonna get an error, so we're gonna print. Okay, I don't know if you can guess what this is doing, but it's it should work. So let's see if it's I think it's like this. Again, remembering what the names were and so on. So if I write now 44 here, then it worked, right? Because if I write something like this, we get malformed integer, right? Because it couldn't get that. But if you write 10, 9, 8 or something like that, we got the error foo instead, right? So now we have foo. Before it would probably look like we would instead do some faults, maybe like this, and then we would have foo in here. So we can actually, let me just swap this for master, and I can show you how master looks like. So okay, we're still on the same thing. We just debug stuff. Right, so we're in here. We now call it some faults instead, but now we have to some faults, right? And otherwise we're doing the same thing. So again, I'm going here, compile it, let's compile the entire compiler. Oh, that was great. So okay, stop that one, and let's run the actual program. Okay, thank you. So again, if we write something like that, it worked. If we write that, it got malformed integer, and here we got foo. So it's basically the same thing from that point of view, but with dev, again, you end up doing them ad hoc instead. So this is no longer okay. You have to do it like this. Like you can have another fault bar, for example. So then if A is greater than 100, maybe you write some, we instead have, bar. And we can try that out. And now we can see we got so if we have our 55, it worked. If we have 101, it got the bar, and if we have 2, it got through, and otherwise we got that one. So let me see if there are any questions. No questions so far. So right, and the question is really now, of course, whether we should have it like this. So to show you, if I wanted to have something like end of file like that, I could do, it would be like constant, so it would look like this. So I can show you again that this works. So again, we have now 322, I get end of file. But yeah, so this is how it looks in the branch. I'm not sure this is the right way, but it does seem nicer. You kind of rather than saying, okay, here's the default, you kind of send this constant to the user, and I think this could be paired with changing the syntax as well for a even nicer experience. But what I dislike is this kind of, it's going to be very, file not found, a fault, no such directory, and it just seems very lacking in information. It was one thing if you kind of defined something here, maybe the file was not found, la 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 la. Then there would be more reason for actually defining it like this. So it just feels nicer in some way. Intuitive. I get the feeling that that's nicer. And we were talking about, like, we could imagine it had, arbitrary. This is not proposed by the way. It's just saying that you could. Sorry again. You could have some, completely made up. You can imagine that you had some properties essentially that you defined in this way, and then you could kind of get to it by doing, once you have an error. So once you have any error like this, so like any fault, sorry, once you have that one from a, like, for example, foo, right? So you have this one, and then you could do like, okay, get a or something, it's an optional or whatever. I'm not saying that you should do this. It's just that would be a possibility if you wanted to extend this. But then thinking about, like, how often would you like to access some static data without knowing what the fault is? The only thing that I can think of is actually this, like, there's a string of some localization or something. Going beyond that seems maybe, I mean, they suggested the following is, like, basically give us a number, an identifier that you can give it, like, maybe something like file not found, and then that's kind of a number for mapping, so 2 or something. That would be completely reasonable. It just I know, like something like this. That would be possible. So you could have it like this, or just maybe something like that. But then would be like the same for everything. So if you didn't specify it, like maybe there would be some default values, because it's like maybe a pain to kind of define it everywhere. I don't know, but it could be something like that. But it would have to be like for everything. Sorry, again. So that's a possibility. And this change is huge, actually. So if we compare with, let me see if I can show you. So if I compare this, okay, that was with master, that was not my intention. If I git compare with branch tag, let's say master, right? Okay, so now we get a better view. So we get obviously all there are these so many changes in. Let's see if I can dock this, maybe then you can see it. No, show. Okay, there we go. So we get all of these, like from IO error down to IO, just IO and stuff like that. But there is also quite a bit of change. Right, everything here is changing because of this. So it's mostly that the type goes away. So there's a default type and it goes away. And okay, so here we got the catch. That's not now just in the master, but that's a different thing. So it actually does affect a lot of things, and then a lot of test cases. But there is more. If you have any questions about this, just let me know. It's very useful for me to kind of explain these things, because as I explain, kind of my understanding will also deepen. That's just the nature of things. It's like the rubber ducking, but with people actually learning things. Okay, so one other thing that we could do is maybe I should just keep this. Is to do this change, right? So if we have something like this, instead it would be this. I've kind of resisted doing this for a long time, because I wanted to keep the exclamation mark style. It did make sense at the time because it was not an optional to begin with. Way back, we didn't have an optional. It was you kind of did it like, what was it called? I don't remember anymore. But it was something like you could basically, let's say you would do like foo error or something, and then it would similar to the enums, you would actually get some information in here. So you could get like enum, so underlying error x, and then the code, maybe an int code. You could put both of them, and then you could do bar like oh no, it was actually like that. Sorry, it was actually exactly like this, right? Right. So, and then you actually passed this thing. So you had something. Okay, so maybe it was like a struct. I don't remember anymore. Okay, but this data then had to be a pointer science at max. and it could be like anything that just so that both of them would pack into a pointer. Um, and the idea then was you sent a foo error, but there was actually uh, it contained data. So you would say instead of this, it would be like foo error, and then maybe you had some sub error in there. So you with the old syntax would be like actual foo bar, right? And then that's the underlying error, and then the code was something like this. So we send something like this, but that was when we had a whole additional pointer. So we don't have that anymore. There's just this one pointer, which means we can put in things there. Really, this is not an option. So, but okay. So the reason why I kind of like this is that if people are seeing this question mark, it's more reasonable. Like I think they kind of more get into the idea to kind of unwrap X. It's not a big deal. It's like there's maybe an X in there. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, if there isn't, then we do catch it. Catch the error inside and then do something about that. I got this like the weird feeling that that's nicer thing, and also people are used to having the this kind of syntax from a lot of languages. Um, like way back, I had the idea with like because this was kind of an error, right? So this was when okay, it contains an either it contains an error or it contains the actual value. But now we're not really thinking of it and using it in that way. So now there's either a value that you can use or there's some message why there isn't a value. And that's a different way of thinking of it, and then maybe the syntax will change with that. So we'll see. I would love to get some more ideas with defaults. Changing this name to excuse. The excuse, file not found, and it could be just, we could have like I wrote there, file was not found. Yeah, okay, so that's a nice name, maybe, and then we have like 23 or whatever, what the error no is or something. I don't know if this is useful or not. Honestly, I doubt this is very useful because it will be defined mostly for every platform, but every platform will have different error nodes and might have overlaps, so you can't really map them. So this will just be your own number. And you're not guaranteed that this will not overlap and so on. So yeah, it's more that I would say that this might be useful, and you might want it localized, which is another thing entirely, because like if you think about localization, then you don't want to define it like this. Because the file not found is going to be like in a gazillion places. So you want to use the actual name like file not found and can look that up, not some text file. Some text like this, sorry, not text file, but text like this. But if you just want to do a best effort, kind of give a nicer name, then yeah. Okay, what do you think? You're watching there. So, okay. So let's see here. Okay, okay. So let's see here. But then the defaults are no longer living in their own label namespace. Namespaces are added info. For example, you could have JSON error file not found, and OS error, file not found. Well, in that case, you could have you always have this if it's a constant, right? So it's a constant. Then the constant rule says that you need to have at least a module name in front of it if it's not in your current module. So you will have like IO file not found, and then some JSON file not found. So you could have things from different namespaces. So, but if you had like before or in the current version, then you would be namespaced already kind of by the name of that group of errors. So you didn't really need this extra namespace. And in C3, in general, the practice should be that the type names are unique. So you should never have an overlapping kind of type names. So that makes the type name already its own kind of namespace that is safe. Okay, in Swift, you pass parameters to default. Yes, I guess they have a result type, but if I'm comparing this to Swift, it would be the Swift optionals. If people are here old enough to remember how Swift beta looked like and what the idea was for Swift beta. In the Swift beta, they said, oh, optionals is going to be enough for to express that it failed. So you got this optional folding and stuff like that. It failed, yeah, just say it was nil. But then people stated the obvious that, well, just because it's gone doesn't mean we know why it's gone, right? A file couldn't be opened, but you wanted to know why the file couldn't be opened. So the obvious solution is the result types, but then also they added exceptions. So now they have options, exceptions, and results, right? Which is a mess, honestly. But they can get around with passing data back because the model in Swift is kind of ref counted value semantics. So you can send back whatever you want. But if you would send back whatever you want in a pointer in C3, what happens in this case? So let me show you an example. Let's say we could create fault. I call it IO error, no foo error, and we defined it like a pointer, data, or maybe string error message. And now I wanted to throw one of those. So let's say something happens in my foo, and I want to return a foo error, and then I want to return bad things. This circle, okay. If I want to do this, then yes, we are fine. We can just call foo. Or maybe have an int here. That's nicer. So we do call foo, and then we might catch it, and then if we catch it, we just return, right? Or I always would say like, oh, it went well. So we're thinking like, oh, this is great, and then we're like, maybe I want to do like string format mem at the, and then I have pass. What happens now? well, there's an allocation here, but we threw away the error. So if it was a full error, we wanted to destroy that one when it was scope. But look here, we did allocate things and now it's just bad. So here's a leak, right? While we could introduce different ways of kind of getting around this, like, oh, always use temp allocator or something, it's a fundamental flaw to send things that are heap allocated this way, because it's just not safe to kind of heap allocate in this situation that you have an error. That, I mean, the error could be anything, and you're not guaranteed to actually have any memory to kind of store the data in. And that's a well-known problem in C++, where we have the same thing, where you kind of can get an out-of-memory error, and then that out-of-memory error exception wants to allocate memory. So they have, in some implementations, they have a special heap to just allocate a bit memory for the exception, to actually have that in reserve. And that's why they want to change to have values. So this is not a good idea. You can get around it if you are like Swift and you're just going to have a GC going to clean it up for you, but otherwise no. Okay, so that's to allow the default and know what caused the final fund. Yeah. Techniques. I actually, when I'm writing in languages that actually have exceptions, which are easy to kind of place data in, it's very, very rare that I actually use those exceptions to kind of pass data back into the system. It's just bad practice in those cases to do it in that way. So there are, of course, the thing that you have a context which you also call into something, and then the context can get, the latest, the error location or whatever you have. This is the classic solution, which you do in C, by the way. It would be like you have this, but you also have, a test. You have foo, and then you have a context or something. And if it fails, so if we have an argument here. So if a is less than 10, then you set like the reason, like a reason a was less than 10, and then you return bad number, bad number, like that. So a classic thing would be in a parsing, you could set the last error that kind of was received in this way. So if you do call, you have your context C, and then you do your call, like that's different. So it's like this, and then you can, you know that and there was this values that goes into there, and then you can write like reason error with last reason being this, whatever that is. So that is a possibility that you can always go to. you can actually always do something different as well. You can also just create a thread local which just says, okay, lost error, which is a string, and then we can say, okay, lost error, what's that? Because this is essentially an implicit context. So again, we don't need a context. Instead, we can do like this. Right. So both of these solutions work, but they are not ideal. Of course, they aren't. And if you want to return things in this way, like it's very simple to create a result type, a generic result type. So that should also be considered, to be honest. Okay, let's see if I had some other questions there. Yeah. Okay, so I would not. I would keep it this way without any payload. There is the most useful payload, by the way, and that is actually the backtrace. So what I miss the most is that when this actually fails, like you can have do this, right, which panics on this error, right? So like this. So when it panics on this error, you would like to be able to show where that error was created. So it's that it's inside of foo, especially if there are several, instances. Like we could call this bar maybe, bar maybe, bar baby, Barbie. So and then have some foo here, which just passes this along, right? And now you would just see, and there's something more complex happening here, so that you don't see. So now when this call fails here, you're not sure where it comes from, if it comes from this call or from some other kind of error. So that would be useful. That's really what you want for, like in the really necessary cases. So I'm looking at different ways of doing that, but it's not simple. You can get like a best effort, but not more than that. Oh. I I hope you're not asleep as I am. Okay, so if there aren't any other questions, what I would like to do now is to rebase this code. So we're gonna get a huge number of conflicts, not in this with this code. So of course this one this is dev, so we should be able to do it like this, right? So like this. Yes, make sure that this compiles. But this should be fine if I do it like this. Right. Okay, the IDE had some error, but this could compile. Okay, the last error, sorry, forgot about that. Then we should panic here. Yes. Unexpected fault, end of file was unwrapped. Now let's rebase this on master. I don't merge in general. I think it's scary. Let's see if I can get you some way to view this, by the way. Okay, I'm making an attempt here. So that's the screen. Let's see here. Okay, that's the window capture. Let me see if I can set the other one to actually capture the entire application. Application. We want C lion. Thank you. Okay. So, do you see this now? Do people see, like, please let me know that you're seeing both things here? That you're seeing like a window in front. Do you see that one? That I'm kind of moving around? Maybe not. Let me hide that one. So let's see here. Now you should just see one window and with something in front that you kind of move around. No? You're not seeing any window. No window with no application window. Yeah, okay, so you saw, yeah, because it goes away. So now you should see the merger. So I have a bunch of these to merge because of the new syntax, or new syntax, the different syntax in this branch. And here's interesting because this is where we changed things. So I have to grab this one and then I have to basically remove the math error. So this is, oh, so I'm gonna go here and then we're gonna make it like this. So the new look would, and let's not have that. Oh, there was another of these. That was bad. Okay, let me, oh, that was in the, oh, so like that. Okay. So continue merge. Let's see here. There is this change here. And probably like that. And oh, this is going to be nasty. Let's just assume that this is the right one. I think this will not succeed. We'll see. We have the formatter. Now we have all these changes from one side, and then we have these last ones. Okay, I put it in the switch. Apparently I put it in the switch, and then we can remove these. Ugh, the wrong place. Like so. JSON coding, we take everything from the left side and then just fix this thing here. We go for IO, EOF, then everything from there. Multi-reader. Okay, everything from the left. Try to fix this. Okay, the left side, and then we go for this. It gets pretty small. I think this looks better. I mean, if this is like, this one looks good, and this one looks, yeah, this kind of looks like simple and easy to understand because there is no, it just looks like you're comparing a constant, which is what you're doing, by the way. So that kind of, that's kind of a good thing about this. Okay, did I have something else? No thing. So let's apply. I'll continue the scanner. Yes. So I grab everything from here. Skip that one, but we're gonna have not found. Not found. Okay. Is there anything else? Nope. Get some stream. We can apply everything and then do this thing here. Changes. Just this change. Again. there is this risk of actually assigning things to the error there. I noticed that this is going to be more of a risk when you go to this syntax, or this kind of when you leave the old one. Okay, now we have much bigger things, much bigger diffs. Okay, so we have a number conversion malform, so it's a string. Another, which one is a string malformed float. We go here, string malformed float. Okay, was there anything else? Let's apply that. Almost done. So okay, we have all these. Finally this one. Oh, I didn't do another one. I'm just going to, I will have to check master after this. It should be easy to do a grep for that. Okay, there's another one here as well. That one was correct. And another one. Okay, so here is the one with the two different NFIs. Skip that. And there's another one. Okay, so this one really used this pattern a lot. Clearly. And then we have the various switching, and again I can do the left hand side, but we removed everything of that, which means, okay, this is going to be like totally broken. Let's just grab this side. I think just ignore these changes. Just ignore them and then take this side. There's not going to be any way that this can work. Too many changes in both sides, on both sides. Okay, crossover, doom, do. Let's skip those changes. I'll skip those changes. Right, and continue rebasing. So, okay. So now let's kind of run those tests, and probably gonna break some things, right? So that's okay. We are already broken. Okay, so we have a search result missing from here and should be not found. There was a rename of this actually. Yes. Right, let's get it started, and I'm going to switch over to the old way of watching the screen. So let's see. Okay, darn. Now you should see it. So let's see. That's turning off the other things. Okay, great. So I don't know, something. Right. I'll that one can just work on its own. So oh, did I? Oh, it seems like something crashed. Oh, it's actually updating for you, but not for me. Oh, then I was updating. Good. Oof. Okay. I noticed there was several windows running. Okay. So that was rebasing this, and then we need to fix these errors that I introduced in the master. Oh, we're waiting now for the broken test. There should be like one at the end. There we go. So this is the various switching that we couldn't get right with the new stuff. So let's go. Various switching, which would be this file. Now I'm just going to not going to switch over so that you can see the diff. It's kind of boring. Maybe even more boring just watching me do stuff that you can't watch, but yeah. But I'll try to do it quickly. So just it was just one change. Was the strings that actually were? Oh yeah, so one small change. Okay, but actually you saw that one, right? Because it's in here. Right. Okay, good. That's good. Oh, and here we get the second one. So the second one was the examples if catch. No, that was yeah. So this one, which was okay. We actually got two of them. Examples if catch. Let's see what we got here. So again, I'm going to do the diff here. And just remove these things. I've got a different name numbering here. For some reason, I think we removed some things, right? That's why everything gets a bit numbered differently, perhaps. Okay, so that was that one, and let's see, that was a okay. So switch in defer macro. So let's see what that was. That one was switch in defer macro, and it was error on 332. Okay, so we got, I think there was some change, and we, yeah. So here, yeah. So I didn't think of that. Okay. So we got these Lexer error things. Lexer error. That was the one. Okay, and then we also had examples if catch. Kind of a lot of them. Oh, that's that one. I should already that was we already did that one. So Lexer one error. So okay, let's see if we can run this and see if I caught all the bugs or the errors there. Any questions? Please post any questions. Off topic is fine. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat here. I banned someone, but I can't get back to see other things. All right, yeah, whatever that was. I do see. I think I see all the. Oh no, that works. It's okay. Oh, this is so weird. Okay, I get the small window. Okay. Yes. Okay. So looks like it's working. I guess this was what I wanted to do today. I'm still not sure that this goes into the language. Maybe we could do one more thing. But that will be there will be too many changes. Please do one change. That would be like trying to do this in the dev branch. I don't know. What do people think? Like, should it be like a question mark or not? it would match, kind of match how you also assign here. And then we just have the the exclamation marks for um, rethrow and panic. So that would kind of make sense. Actually, I was thinking, like, someone asked me, "Can't you do the question mark?" And I was like, "No, it's kind of not going to make sense." But it was, I was wrong, because I was like misremembering, because before this was the way you assigned to this, which makes perfect sense. So you did like this exclamation mark, so you got one of these exclamation things, right? Everything was makes made sense. But then we had this was which was panic, and this one was rethrow, and this just didn't make sense. So I changed that, but I never changed the type. So maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for the type to change, and it's going to be consistent. And then, because of that, I did have these different examples, like this was this and this, and because this was the original, and this one was the kind of on trial one, which sometimes look nicer. But if we do this change, then we should definitely do like that. It shouldn't be. I mean, otherwise it's unnecessarily ugly like that. It's better to do like this. Okay, so now the test pass. Actually, you see that we have less than the number of passes than we had in master. So I'm just going to just fix this for rebase. No, I can just man this last commit, which is whatever that was. New optionals, right? So commit. And then we're going to go and go back to master and actually fix those bugs that I introduced. So we are going to go for this pattern. If there is one, oh yeah, and there's no problem if there's a catch, but if there's a sign, right? This is fine, actually, and that one's fine. It's just okay. I'm just going to go for this. If there's if it starts like that. Oh, there was just that one's broken anyway. Okay, so there might not be anything that looked like that after all. That's weird. Didn't we see a bunch of those? Oh wait, did I? Maybe I'm just like limiting my search or something. Oh, I'm limiting my search. That's why. So let's see. Okay, I get the error. Now we had some more. So we get this one, right? This one's wrong. And this one's wrong. Which means this one might be producing the wrong syntax anyway. So I have to run the tests again. And fix that. And then we'll have to rebase dev again, but now dev is going to work because it's already done those changes, so gonna be fine. That's what I'm telling myself. But yeah, maybe it's time to have the question mark. What do you say, folks? Are you ready to make that change as well in dev? I kind of like it because it seems good for something. Something might go wrong here. Okay, so okay, first of all, okay, so let me answer this question. So here's Twitchy Mall saying, I'm very new to C3, so I don't fully understand the difference between exclamation mark and question mark. Okay, so let me explain what the difference is in currently. So currently it looks like I have to pull out an example so you can see. Is it just me or is that like right now I really got the UI kind of shutting down on me. And I don't know if this was because I was like having the other view before. Uh, hmm. So the hidden view, which was the whole screen, like it did something bad to my computer. So now I can't really move the screen. You are seeing updates, I think, but I'm not seeing any updates on the screen. So I think I have to remove this old one or something. So let's remove their screen capture. See if I get some control back. Yes, thank you. Okay, so yes, an example. Oh, here. Okay, hang on. We just got the expected new stuff. So this is from which one? It's from examples if catch, right? So let's update that one. We get the diff here. So it's just those, right? So right there, not that one. And let's not keep that one. So got the changes in here. It's the comparison instead of the assignment. Okay, right. So that one works. Now let's go back to the question. So the question was this: what does it mean? In C3, this int x here is like here's x is basically an optional, and if you want to assign a value to it, then you just do like that. It's okay. I just got crashed in the ID. So this assigns a value to it. But what if you want to assign an error? So now we're on master. So then you would be like, you could assign search result missing. But the problem is if I do it like that, then it search result missing is obviously not an integer. So in order to say like, okay, so I want to have search result, but it should be on the kind of error channel, assigned as an error or fault. Let's make this an option. This is hard with the names, right? So it's like the make the optional empty, this optional x in x empty, and put this missing as the excuse. That's what this question mark is saying. And the reason why you need the question mark is because you can do it like this. Or you can, let me just have this one so it's super clear. So I can do like this. This y is not an optional at all. We can make it optional. Now here, y is not empty. Y is a different value, which is search result missing. If I want to make it have an actual empty, I have to do like this. Now it's clearly empty with this error. And this seems like, oh, can't you, get around this? But no, that's just the way it is. So you can't really do semantic analysis and then figure it out. It's not working, because you can also do something like that. You don't even have to have it like, well, okay. So then the question, what does this do? So this one is basically say, okay, if X has an error, use catch. If we have an error in X, in that case, return error as this excuse in this empty. So return empty with this excuse. That is what X this does. What X exclamation mark does is that basically it just, if there is an error, then we like if catch error, then we just abort with a message. That's what it says. Yes, I don't know if that was clear. Yeah, you kind of like exclamation mark because it seems good for signaling that something might go wrong here. Yes, it does. It's nice from that point of view. It's not so. It's not the downside is that people are kind of used to unwrapping something that looks like this. So they kind of used to something like, okay, maybe if let y equals x, right? They kind of used to this kind of code. So there's a lot of examples of code looking like that, which is with this question mark. So it might be a good idea. If possible, try to stay with convention. And for when I picked the exclamation mark, it was because I knew I was like severely breaking with convention anyway, and I wanted to highlight that. But now I'm like, well, it's almost following convention. Again, it's not doing it quite completely, but it's almost. So okay, let's fix tests. Just going to push. You can't. Yeah, you can see my push here. So now I'm pushing to master, by the way. And then I'm going to grab dev again, and then I'm going to do the rebase one more time. So just making sure, and I'll have to merge problems as before. But I'll just grab the dev one for those. Let's see here. Which one should I have? Yes, that one. I'm sorry, I have a bit of a call still left here from before. Okay, updating that one and finish worm merging, and now we can. Maybe we should just push this, all of this live, the dev one. So yeah, should we try to do the question mark or not? No, it's 12 o'clock. It's I should be having better habits. So let's wrap this up for tonight. I don't know if you have any more questions. No more questions. In that case, I should really type quick. Type quickly if you have some questions. Otherwise, I'll just say good night and thank you for watching, everyone. Yeah. Okay. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll try to do a stream next Friday evening as well. Right.